Hey everybody, Dave here, and I want to send you a quick video message. And I honestly do not recall sending you a video message during our first week. I send these quite a bit, so forgive me if I have, but I just wanted to quickly welcome you to at least the third week. But I know I missed last week's video message, and it's a little hazy on week one. So welcome to Health 101, week three, I suppose. And we are flying along here. It's hard to believe we're in late January of 2018. When you get to be old like me, boy, these years go by really fast. So, yeah, so far so good in our class. Everything has been updated, or as far as grading, finished up earlier this week with the self-care goal grading, as well as the self-responsibility and love grading. And this week we have the breathing and sensing discussion, which is one of my favorites because many of these topics within chapters 2 and 3 are so relatable, and just taking care of basic things around the house that you can get credit for. Meanwhile, connecting with the old textbook, which I left on my desk at home. But be sure to always come back to the textbook. I really want to encourage you to read that book, man. It is like chicken soup for the soul. And if you're old, like myself, in your late 30s and maybe 40s and beyond, I'm 43 by the way, then yeah, you might recall that Chicken Soup for the Soul books that people could buy at bookstores. So now I wanted to send this particular message because next week is absolutely bananas. We have two things on deck for next week, and typically in the fall term, these assignments are actually in separate weeks. But we're 1 week short of fall quarter. We have 11 weeks versus fall quarter has 12. And so this week I'm cramming in all of the physical wellness stuff because we have so many topics within wellness within our class that I'm just going to cram these two babies together, and we're going to see how it goes. It's worked well. It's worked fine in the past. I've opened up the module early for next week. It should be open now. You should have full access to it. Yeah, I don't think you don't. So I believe you do. How about that? You have access now to the wellness and moving and the nutrition assignment. The wellness and moving assignment is where you're going to do an actual activity versus just sitting in your chair and reading and finding some research. I want you to actually engage in something, and I don't care what it is. It can be, I've had so many different activities over the last few years, from stuff I can't mention, which is kind of funny, but like frisbee golf and spinning and taking a Pilates class, or a hot yoga, or something where you typically wouldn't engage in this activity, but you've always been thought fondly of it and you've always wanted to try it. This is your opportunity to try a brand new activity to you, or a relatively new activity. If this is something that you've taken on maybe this quarter, like you took a dance class at Clark College and you're really excited about it, this is your opportunity to talk about it. Or if you've taken maybe like an SAQ class, if you're taking it now from Coach Arnold on the main campus here, you can talk about that. You actually have an opportunity to utilize what you've already done. I really don't want you to have to pay for anything. Oftentimes there are commitment fees or fees that you might have to pay to utilize, like a CrossFit facility, or gosh, I hope we don't do CrossFit, but which is a good form of exercise, but if you're sedentary, probably not the brightest one to do first. But there are so many things that you can do in the community that are free, that are, I'll say, minimal, low to moderate forms of exercise. If you need any suggestions, please don't hesitate to let me know. There is a research side of this, so if you choose not to do like participate or observe an activity, you can actually reach out to me by Sunday and ask for the alternative. Don't email me on Wednesday saying, "Oh, I'm in a pinch. I need an activity, or I need to do the research." Email me early. Let me know what's going on. Actually, you don't even have to let me know what's going on. If you know that you can't do an activity, if you just don't have time to go out and do an activity, just let me know and I'll have you do the research part of it. It's just not as fun. You're doing research, and quite frankly, it's just not as fun. So, I mean, it is and it isn't, right? So, the next assignment that is due next week is the nutrition assignment. That's actually due on the 2nd. That should be a Friday. Let me double check. Yeah, it's Friday the 2nd. So you have 8 days to complete that. And 8 days is important here because you're actually asked to do 3 days of food logging, and then you're taking your foods from that log. And I don't need to know like how much you ate. I just need to know what you ate. So you just have that list of foods, and you're going to take your list and you're going to compare it to the WHFoods dot something. I think it's .com. It's an online database that has, I think, about 130 foods that are the world. WH Food stands for World's Healthiest Foods, and that's a website that's dedicated to teaching you about the healthiest foods that are out there on the market, and or at least within our region. Yeah, so it's a great resource for you to find out like how many foods are out there, because too often we get stuck eating the same stuff over and over and over. Whereas this website can provide you with, oh my gosh, there's so much more out there that I'm not even tapping into. But we're going to compare what you're currently eating with what's on that food list. And if your food isn't on there, then it's not a nutrient-dense food. If your food is on there, then it is a nutrient-dense food. What is nutrient density? That's something you have to answer. So go to link 4.2 and you can read about that assignment, and you can figure out what you're going to do. It's also asked for there are 5 questions on the back, and one of them is like mindful eating exercise. Another one asks for the quote of what we are what we eat versus we are what we absorb. Another one asks for you to compare and contrast your nutrient density versus non-nutrient density list, and show me a little bit of a history. Tell me about a little bit of food history about you. Another one is about organic eating. So you're going to watch a 3-minute video from Dr. Wheel, and he's going to basically give us a little bit of information about what to eat. There's also in that video, organic eating. In that video, at the end of that video, there is a page that comes up that shows you Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen. That's actually one of the questions, and it's actually embedded in that video. So you have to watch the video for the discussion around organic eating, and the other paragraph discussion around Clean 15 and Dirty Dozen. So all of that stuff is in the link 4.2. Next, or the second part of that assignment, so that you have the 5 questions plus you have a SMART goal. Now I know, I can tell you right now that the link doesn't work for the SMART goal, but most of us, I see this in middle school where my kids go to school. The SMART goal is pretty clear. It's a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goal for you to create on your own. And I'm not gonna, SMART goals, it's a big part of the process, but this is your goal, not mine. So whatever your goal may be, my personal goal is to have 100 ounces every day of this delicious water that comes straight from my faucet. So that's my SMART goal. And then there are some action steps that I want you to talk about, like how you're going to implement this goal and how you're going to follow through and be able to sustain this goal. So for me, my action step is every morning with breakfast, I have one of these. And then before I leave the house, I fill it up and I take it with me in my car. And yeah, so I take a PE class. I try to have some extra water for the day for that. Yeah, I guess that's and I know what the water does. I'll say physically, it just kind of loosens me up, and I've got a long story with water, but I'll spare you the details. We're already at 8.5 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out to me via email. Also, to let you know, I'm also on the old Skype machine. So if you guys have Skype, you can look me up and find me there. I'm in my office almost every day with that thing turned on. And if you guys have any questions, you can chime in, say hello, ask me questions in real time, or you can just shoot me an email. I'm usually really good about responding pretty quickly if it's not the weekend, pretty quickly with emails. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message. Bye-bye.